I'm Kody Lucas.
I'm Terry Montgomery.
And we're the Outdoor Vigilantes.
Are we in Kansas yet? Son.
We're headed out to northwest Kansas, just a few miles from Colorado.
That's right, we're 30 minutes from the Colorado line. 30 minutes.
We are Kansas bound, baby. We ain't gonna be able to get there quick enough. Headed up to Norton, Kansas. Actually, I guess it'd be Norton County. We'll be hunting in Clayton, Kansas for some big old whitetails. We got several thousand acres we're gonna get to bow hunt. And every year they've been killing a booner buck off of there. One year they killed several. About 3 years ago they killed several booner whitetail off there. So we're excited to get there. I didn't think today was ever gonna get here.
We finally make it to Kansas. We're out here hanging stands. And as you can see, I think we're on them.
Well, that's a good sign right there. We're jumping up deer like rabbits everywhere. We can't even get here and hang a set of stands. Up here in northwest Kansas, this is our first time up here. This is unreal, absolutely unreal. We got to try to slip in here. I guess there's no slipping. There's just deer running everywhere. Try to get in here and get some stands on. Son.
And as you can see, Terry here's got his gear on. He's ready to hang some stands, and we're finding all kinds of trails, a big scrape, but the trees, were they cooperating with us?
The trees would not cooperate with us. We're used to trees that are straight here in Missouri. We can find them everywhere, but out there I think the winds played a little havoc on them and kind of blowed them all sideways or something, because we could not find a straight tree to put a stand up in. And we're talking ladder stands too.
All kinds of sign, trails, rubs, scrapes, everywhere. Looks like cattle trails, but there's no livestock in there. But we can't find a straight tree. I don't think a tree knows how to grow straight in Kansas. Unbelievable. But we finally find some, and we make it come together. Well, we've been out hanging stands all day. It's our first day in Kansas. We're trying to get prepared. We're going to hunt tomorrow. We actually acquired another piece of property while we were there that we could hunt. So we slide in there right at dark with some binoculars, and we sneak up to some round hay bales.
Well, there was a cornfield there with a pivot point in it. So it's a big round field that goes for miles in a big circle. And we slipped down to those hay bales, and we saw they were there. There was deer all over out there, bucks chasing does, and the kind of stuff that you want to see when you pull up on spot.
We knew then we was going to have to get a set hung or put up a ground blind on that one.
He's even or just outside his ears. I can't tell if he's 8 or 10. He's out there with about half a dozen does. He's chasing that one around like she might be coming in already, something. Little pre-rut. He's chasing her again.
Well, here we are in the stand. It's my turn to bat. It's the first morning here in Kansas. We have already had an encounter with a little feller. I didn't even have time to get the light off my hat.
I'd actually barely made it up in the stand, and I think the deer was coming while you were crawling up into the stand. I barely got the camera on, and you still had your light on your head even. I mean, we didn't get our stuff put away and settled in.
I hadn't even put my bow up yet. I'm just glad it wasn't that big 12 I was with.
Yeah.
We haven't even had a chance to give you all an intro. We've already got a buck bumping a scrape right here, 24 yards. Unreal. Kansas, baby.
Well, after that first real early encounter of that spike bug, Terry gets my attention, and we look out, and here comes some does.
Well, we were sitting there and been seeing some does and different things, and things had kind of settled down just a little bit, and Kody kind of nudged me and said he'd seen something way out there in the field. Well, he had binoculars, and I didn't have any, so I tried to zoom in on it with a camera, and what we saw next is, well...
What I saw was horns coming about 600 yards out across this cut wheat field. It was horns coming up the horizon, and he was going away, going to go over the hill. And when we realized what he was, it was Kody barred the door.
Yeah, we had to do something to get that deer into us.
So Terry says, call to him. So I start throwing everything I can at this deer, and he'll stop and look, but nothing tickled his fancy until I snort wheeze.
There is something new in the air. The Scud in-flight scent dispenser is designed to help you create a scent trail for the game of your choice without ever leaving your position. The Scud works with any and all of your favorite scents and lures. Just load it up and you are ready to go. The Scud leaves a vapor scent trail back to your position up to 100 yards away. Every situation may not call for a Scud, but sooner or later, you will wish you had one. The Scud in-flight scent dispenser, online at scudshooter.com.
After I snort wheeze at this deer, he turns. Doesn't come, as you'll see, to us. He comes across over to the wood line that we're staged up in.
He kind of took an angle and then went out of sight. And I told Kody, I said, wouldn't that be the thing if he just go over there and follow this tree line down, follow that scrape line all the way to us? Because we'd been scouting there earlier and we saw the scrapes all the way down through that field line.
There were scrapes right out in front of our stand. We were sitting right on some big cottonwoods, right on the edge of the cut weed he was coming across. And like Terry said, there's scrapes every 20, 30 yards, that full length of that. And it was obvious, as you'll be able to see here, the deer heard us and he was responding. He was bristled up, his ears were back. You'll notice he's licking his muzzle a lot. So Terry said, man, it'd be great if he'd just come right down here to us. And I ain't gonna lie, you can tell, I thought it was over with when we lost visual of him, you know, when he disappeared into the woods.
I kept my eye on that area down there where he walked in, and I said, Kody, here he comes. Here he comes, he's coming. And I don't think he believed me right at first.
Nope, I'd already hung the bow up and sat down and was kind of disgusted. And at first I said, yeah, right, I think, whatever I said. And he goes, no, I'm serious. And at that point I looked and I could see his legs coming. And if you talk about high the high, here he come. My first morning in Kansas. This buck comes right down the field line, the tree line, right the way we wanted him to, and he decides to tear it up, as you can see, and he's broadside, he's at 40 yards, and I'm fixing to let him have it. Terry says to me, what was it you said?
I said, just let him keep coming.
And I thought, you know what, he's right. There was one little old limb that I might clip. Pretty sure I could have threaded the needle, but then I thought, you know, he's right. He's come hundreds of yards down this. He's gonna come right under us. Beautiful footage for y'all, and I'm gonna make a beautiful shot here at about 18 yards. He stops tearing up that tree, comes out in the field, he's gonna come to us. I'm thinking, wow, he's read the script, and I feel the wind change. It hits me in the back, and that buck just stops on a dime. And you see the rest of it. There he was, gone, forever. Broke my heart. You've got to be kidding me. So the rest of the day we sat around and we stayed put because we thought if there's movement like this, maybe he'll come back. Maybe we'll see something else. We threw out a few blind calls and we saw some does. And
yeah, we had some does come down off the horizon again, and there was a small buck, I think spike or forked horn, running some does around through the cut wheat field.
All the way to dark, that's all we saw.
Yep.
After that was just does and small bucks.
There is something new in the air. The Scud in-flight scent dispenser is designed to help you create a scent trail for the game of your choice without ever leaving your position. The Scud works with any and all of your favorite scents and lures. Just load it up and you are ready to go. The Scud leaves a vapor scent trail back to your position up to 100 yards away. Every situation may not call for a Scud, but sooner or later, you will wish you had one. The Scud in-flight scent dispenser, online at scudshooter.com.
Final step cover scent, 100% all natural. If you want to bring home bone like this, you better make final step your last step in your scent elimination system.
I started this mineral lick about a year and a half ago with just OV mineral, and just starting this out in the middle of a pasture where I know big bucks frequent. The does cross here. It's a natural crossing. They come out here, they're not scared. It's kind of a safe area for them. They've got CRP all around them, and as you can see with this mineral site how much this has helped the deer, but not only helped me locate where the deer are coming from, where they're going to, and that's only going to equal success in the future.
Absolutely. Now this is an amazing mineral site. It's dug out 3 foot by 6 foot deep, and I'm looking at this thinking, how do I get one like that? So if any of you guys want to know how to do this, how did you start this hole?
Well, I got with our host Kody Lucas. He created this mineral with not just killing in mind, but actually the health of the herd. He wanted something that was going to help all aspects of hunting. So he gave me this. He said, try this out. This is my own mixture. It's in the testing phase. So, you know what? I'll give it a try. And here we are a year later. This is going to be our 3rd or 4th application in this hole. And a year and a half later, we have this big of a hole. We have numerous pictures of big bucks, does, fawns. Every deer in the area is coming to this lake.
And this is an exciting time of the year because this is when we really get to see these bucks. They love coming to these licks, especially early. Before September, they'll just come in there and nail it, especially with their antlers growing. And you'll see them in velvet. You'll get all these velvet picks of these awesome bucks. And it's important to have this out all year round as well.
We had been talking on the way out to Kansas. We've deer hunted since we were little bitty kids, and we've heard a lot of grunts and you name it, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I'd never heard a buck snort wheeze. I keep hearing all this about it, and finally I bring it up to Terry, feeling kind of silly. I said, hey brother, you ever heard this snort wheeze in the wild? He's like, no. And we talk about this on the way out. And this particular morning, as it unfolds, you're gonna see, we get to experience it not once, but several times as Terry calls in how many bucks?
I don't know. This was one of those magical mornings. The frost was on everything. Actually, walking in that morning, we walked through some does bedded down right in front of the stand. We walked right through them and didn't spook them. Didn't spook them. And that was the first thing we seen that morning. I got up with frost on their backs.
They were laying right out in the cut wheat, right where we'd walk right through. I guess that final step was really working that morning.
So as soon as we got some camera light, I started grunting and we started rattling some horns.
Yep.
And it was no time. We had bucks coming off the horizon. They were actually fighting up on the horizon on the hillside. There were 2 more that came down from the tree line.
It was
come
like
up
they
the
were
edge
in a
of the field.
trance. As you'll see, it's like they were in a trance. They was coming from every direction. It was unbelievable. And they start snort wheezing and fighting. There's 2 there that decide they're going to match antlers, and Well, the one decides he doesn't want much of it for long, and the other one thinks he's still there. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen.
He was fighting with the grass there, fighting himself.
I'd never seen anything like. He was so bad, he was fighting himself and weeds and everything else that was around him. Unbelievable experience, and like Terry said, it was one of those magical mornings. I've never experienced that before, and I haven't experienced it since either. This morning we had all these little bucks fighting and snort wheezing and really putting on a show for us. And when they finally left the area, which we had to be careful because if we called, they'd come right back.
Yeah.
So finally we took a break, let things settle down, and I thought I heard something. And again, we're in a huge cottonwood tree. I'm on one side and Terry's on the other. And I look over and I see these deer, and I said, "Hey Terry, there's deer." And he gets up and turns around and looks, and he goes, "Oh, there's a shooter buck right there." And I'm thinking, where? Because all I see is these two does trotting down through the creek, the brush line, staying out of the cut wheat field. They're coming down, staying in the cover. And then I see him, and talk about a shooter. Wow. Now this buck comes right on in like he's on a string. When you hit him with that snort wheeze that second time, it was all over with. He was committed. Here he come locked in, and I've got the camera rolling, and this buck comes in at 29 or 30 yards, and he stops broadside in an open cut wheat field. I said, "Take him, son. I'm on him." And I hear, "I don't think so. I don't want to take this shot." I'm thinking, what? And I'm forgetting that I'm 3 foot around a cottonwood tree, leaned out as far as I can to get this footage. But Terry, what happened?
Well, Kody was on the open side of the tree,
Yeah,
and I was on the complete opposite side of the tree as a deer. And we had a ladder stand there that had the arms on it. I didn't want to take the chance of pulling the bow back and hitting the arm on the ladder stand. I thought if we can just wait just a little bit, just a few minutes longer, this deer is going to be dead in line. And
Well, he was headed that way.
yeah, I mean, he was going right where we wanted him to go.
Yep.
But when he got to where I could shoot him, you couldn't see him.
There was a tree limb coming out, as you can see, and just as he gets behind this tree, and the tree arm's as far as it'll go, and I'm scared to move because these big bucks have an instinct, and you can tell he's thinking something's not right. So I immediately want to pull back around the tree to where I can get him, but I'm afraid of him busting me. So he said, "Are you on him?" I said, "No, shoot." I said, "I'm not on him." And of course, then panic mode kicks in, and well, I try to come back around the tree, and as I'm coming around, I hear him say something, "Are you on him?" And so I come back the original side, and we see the buck hopping out, but he stops again behind some limbs, and Terry says, "How about now?" I said, "No, shoot." At this point, I thought it's do or die, so I bring the camera all the way around the cottonwood, and just as I get around this big tree to where I can get back on him, all I see is him waving that big white flag at us as he goes across the field. And I know my heart fell all the way down through my boots, and as you can tell by his reaction,
Absolutely.
high,
Low of the low. Yeah, absolutely sick at my stomach. And I was done after that, ready to be done.
he was really something else.
That's the breaks. Me and the cameraman couldn't get together on the same page. I couldn't get turned around here to get a shot at that deer. That's how you want him to come in when you call to him. Grunting and that snort wheeze, he just could not take that, period. These deer are fired up and they are in the mood. Hopefully we'll get another shot. He just heard something. He just heard something pop. I don't know if it's a stand or what it was, but and when I was going to draw back to shoot, Kody couldn't get on him with the camera. Got big trees right here in the way. That's the breaks. But we got enough deer movement right now. Maybe we'll get a good one through here. Got to stay positive.
Final step, cover scent.
The only one on the market that I know of that's 100% all natural. Here in Missouri, we like the cedar scent. They got several scents to pick from. If you like to hunt, trap, you name it, this is the stuff to have. When we run trap lines, we spray everything down with this. It smells just like cedar. It's unbelievable. 100% natural. When we go to the tree stand, we spray it on. We spray it on when we get in the tree. It's like we were never there. We get ground blinds. We spray it on the blinds before we go in. It's like we were never there. This stuff is absolutely amazing. Final Step cover scent. 100% all natural. If you want to bring home bone like this, you better make Final Step your last step in your scent elimination system.
Well, it's our last evening here in northwest Kansas. We got about 25-mile-an-hour winds, maybe stronger. We're sitting here in a double bull blind on the edge of a cut cornfield. We've been seeing a lot of deer in here every evening, so we're hoping maybe tonight we're going to take it to the wire. Maybe we can get us a deer on the ground. We talked to the owner. There's so many deer here. He said if we want to take some meat, take some. We've hired hard all week. I think that's just what we're going to do. If we get the opportunity, we're going to take some Kansas venison back to Missouri. Stick with us. I think this is going to pay off.
I think that morning we'd already packed all our gear at the motel, hadn't we? Would we go back?
I think we had to go back to the motel and get everything packed up and checked out by a certain time.
Yep.
Because we had a long drive ahead of us that night, and we kind of talked about it. Did we want to take that chance and, you know, hunt that evening? And
well, we decided, yeah, we was going to give it one last ditch effort. We had everything packed up. The truck you couldn't even hardly see getting it to drive. And all we had left was our ground blind that we'd brushed in and been hitting on the real bad windy days. And we thought, you know what, we're going to go down there and climb in that double bull blind and see if by chance or lady luck we might score on at least some table fare. Finally, we get one that wanders down there, a big old nanny doe as we call it, and we thought, boy, that's going to be some fine eating. And she gets a little too close. That nocturnal found its mark, and we didn't have to, no track job. We watched that rascal run out there, as you can tell here, and pile up. And unfortunately, we was already packed up and we were on a deadline, so we just went and got the truck and celebrated and went and picked that deer up and beeline back for Missouri as fast as we could go.
well, this was an awesome trip to Kansas for us. We didn't get what we came here to get, but
we didn't go home empty-handed.
right, we didn't go home empty-handed. We got the best memories. That's probably the most fun I've had in a deer stand. I know that's the most fun I've had in a deer stand ever, probably, ever.
I've never experienced deer that were so vocal. We were calling these deer in on this trip, as you saw, just like we call the gobblers here in the spring in Missouri. We throwed it at them and they'd respond. I've never had that happen ever. I mean, it was just an experience and memories that I'll never forget. And the great thing was we got to bring it back here and share it with you. Well, we hope that you enjoyed the Kansas trip as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. We want you to make sure and check us out on Facebook, check us out on our website at www.outdoorvigilantes.com. Be looking for more great things like what you just saw coming up, some fantastic action-packed hunts, and there are going to be some that we do score, and we pull off what we planned on doing.
Thanks for joining us, folks.
We'll see you next time.